Preaching looks simple from the outside. You stand up, open your Bible, and talk for 30 minutes. But anyone who's done it knows it's so much more than that. It's a rhythm of learning, stretching, failing, and getting back up again. There are moments where everything clicks, the message flows, and the room leans in. And then there are those Sundays where it feels like every word hits the floor. But even in those moments, God is shaping something in us as preachers. This week, we're pulling back the curtain on the process, the quiet lessons, the humbling moments, and the small adjustments that make a big difference. Because great preaching doesn't come from perfection, it comes from growth. Here on the Pastor's Potluck Podcast, our goal is to encourage you and maybe in the process, entertain you. If you're ready, let's dig in. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. Dude, what was that? That was like the deepest breath.
Subtle cough.
But welcome. We are continuing our discussion on all things preaching, kind of getting the psychology behind some things, how we prepare our souls. I thought that conversation that we had last week was just, it was good. It was eye-opening, even for someone on staff to be able to kind of get a peek at the preparation side of things. And a lot of our conversation today is going to be dealing with things that happen in the moment.
Yeah.
Like while you are preaching. And I guess the first question for you, Pastor Scott, and probably get your take on it too, Aaliyah. Thank you for joining us today. It's good to have you back.
You're welcome.
Glad
to be here.
What's that?
Glad to be here.
Okay.
Sorry.
Next week, join us for just Scott.
Yeah.
But what's a mistake that you have made that has made you a better preacher today? Maybe it was something like a delivery on something and you were like, oh, okay, I don't need to ever do that again. Or, just going back and maybe rewatching something that has happened while you have been giving a sermon, delivering God's word and the things that he is giving you. And you go, okay, that was not a good take or a mistake.
Yeah. This being our third week of answering questions, I honestly can't remember everything that I've already said. So if this is a repeat answer from anything else, I apologize. But when I saw that we were going to answer this question, there's something, and it's because what most people think, oh, what's a mistake that you made? Like, oh, you said something wrong, or you got the Bible, you got it wrong, like your interpretation was wrong.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. Here's what happens, and I think that this happens actually with most preachers, if not all preachers. Whenever we are young and really fired up for our opportunities to preach, I will tell you what happened to me. When I am 20, let me think, I don't know, mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, when I'm ready to preach, the vast majority of my preaching, what I wanted to come in and do is to punch you in the face. Like there's this like young pastor angst that you're like, I'm going to preach the hell out of everyone in here right now. Like if you are a sinner, I'm going to make sure that you get it in this sermon right in the nose. Like you're going to, my goal, I probably never stated this, but like if you go back and listen to it, it felt like my goal is you're going to walk out of here with a spiritually bloody nose that you're going to have to deal with all week to not be such a horrible person.
Yeah.
And what has happened over the last, I'd say, handful of years, 5 years or so, is the older I get and the more I do ministry, the more I realize that life is already punching everyone in the nose every day, all week long. And the last thing that people need is to show up at church and get punched in the face by someone that is meant to pastor them, meant to love them, meant to encourage them.
Yeah.
And so I hope that other people can see this, but the overall tone of my teaching has changed from it doesn't shy away from truth. So I'm not talking about a watered down version of like, oh, it's all just a bunch of self-help stuff now. No, I mean, we still talk about sin. We still talk about difficult things. But my overall tone is much more gracious. I want to make sure that you're going to walk away, yes, being challenged, because when we're challenged, that's when we change, but also being encouraged. I don't want you to walk out of the room feeling like you're a failure, because when you're a failure, then you want to give up and then you won't change. And so I want to hit you with some truth, but do so in a way that allows you to hear the hard truth, but then hear my heart behind it. To go, like, I love you. God loves you. And if this is a hard thing for you to hear, just know it's coming from a place of love. So I even think, like, years ago, my buddy Jason would tell me when he would listen to me, he'd go, when you're preaching and I'm only watching or only listening to the podcast, so I can't see your face, I can't see what's going on in the room, he's like, you sound angry.
Yeah.
And I would be like, no, I don't sound angry. And then you go back and listen, you're like, no, that guy sounds angry. And now I'm hoping that my overall tone sounds much different. So that it was a gigantic mistake that I think a lot of people make, that you come in wanting to be really harsh. And like, because, behind closed doors, pastors will sit around and go like, oh, listen to what I said to my congregation this last week. And it was almost like, who could say the most hurtful thing to their congregation and get away with it type deal.
Yeah.
And it's like that's.
Do you think that has changed because of your understanding of the Bible, in the sense that we typically place ourselves in the heroes of stories, right? And approaching this from a pastoral standpoint and a communicator standpoint, we have to understand that we are not the hero of what's happening here, and it's not my job to punch people in the face. It's my job to present the word in a way to where the Holy Spirit is nudging and pushing people to something that's greater and more meaningful, and that has a life that's filled with more purpose. Do you think that is where that comes from?
I think that's some of it. I think God's teaching me, just in general. And honestly, the longer that you do pastoral ministry, especially if you're a pastor of a church, not just a preacher. Like, if you're a preacher that you just go from place to place, like what we used to call an evangelist, or now they call them like itinerant preachers. Not you, but like if you're a pastor of a church, the longer you do that, the more times people sit in your office, and the more you learn about what's going on in the lives of the people in your congregation. And it's a really good practice for speakers that, like, when you're thinking about your sermon, if you'll think about, like, who's going to be sitting in there on Sunday? Hey, this person's mom is in hospice. Hey, this person here, their kid is sick. Hey, this couple here, they're going through marital issues. This person here has a spouse who doesn't know the Lord, and it's causing all kinds of tensions. This one here has a child that's making foolish decisions. If you think about all those people, and you go, they're all showing up into one room.
Yeah.
And I am aware of all of that. No one else in the room is aware of everything that's going on.
There's so many instances.
So therefore, I'm
that are
going,
represented.
What would be appropriate to say to a group like that?
Yeah.
And there's where the change has been, you can still say difficult things to people, right? Like this past week, at the beginning of that sermon, there's a spot where David's sons repeat the two sins that he did in chapter 11 of 2 Samuel. And I simply, just to the congregation, not wagging a finger, not raising my voice, I simply go, and this is something we cannot miss, that David's sons repeated his failures. And so you have to be very careful with the example that you set in front of your kids, because they might be bound to repeat them.
Yeah.
Something like that. Now, that's a different posture than probably 8 years ago. The way that I would have handled that passage was I would have made the whole sermon about how you as a parent, your failures are going to show up in your kids.
Yeah.
And I would have made the whole sermon, dads, especially dads, because I'm brutal on men, because I'm a man. It's easier to be, and I would have gone like, dads, you are ruining your kids, and That's what it would have been.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
how it would have felt. This past week, it's like, hey, can I just warn you guys because I love you
Yeah.
that whatever you see in yourself right now is what you're probably going to see in your kids. It's just it's my heart has been transformed. Yes, by falling more in love with Jesus. Yes, in the way that Jesus has ministered to me. That like if I was showing up at church, what is it that I would need?
Yeah.
And then, yes, it's a theological thing as well. The more I come to understand that it's the kindness of God that leads us to repentance. It's not an angry, red-faced, pounding on the pulpit. And yet, I have not changed anything about sharing truth.
Yeah.
Right? I have not once watered down that God is a God of holiness and justice, and we still talk about sin. And I just talked about hell this past week. I'm not watering any of that down, but I'm changing the posture of my heart to where it used to be like, I'm going to rub this in your face that this is what's getting ready to happen if you don't knock it off. And now it's more like with a sad heart that I go, listen, this is your reality if you don't make changes.
Yeah.
And it comes from a place of love. It's the biggest shift that has happened in my preaching probably ever, where early on it felt like I just wanted to come in and do as much spiritual damage as possible.
Yeah.
And there is a spiritual a preaching principle that, like, if you want to know what your goal as a preacher should be every single week, is John 1:14, Jesus came full of grace and truth. Your sermon needs to be full of grace and truth. And too often I would lean so heavily on the truth side that I would get to the end of a sermon, I'd go, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even used to have a little, when I was learning to make this transition, I had a little note card that sat next to my desk. It says, does this have enough truth? Does this sermon have enough grace? And I would have those sitting right next to where I would prep sermons. That way I would look and go, I've got to balance the two of these. Both of these characteristics showed up perfectly in Jesus, the truth and the grace. You cannot just preach truth and you cannot just preach grace. You have to have both of them perfectly held in balance, because the goal of the preacher is I want to come in and I want to comfort the afflicted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to comfort you if you're coming in and your child is having a tough time at school, you're having marriage issues, you just got a bad diagnosis, you just lost your job. I want to comfort those that are coming in afflicted. And in the same breath, I have a call on my life from God that I also have to afflict the comfortable. When they come in, I also have to speak to, you came in here, your life is all good, and so you're not even acknowledging your need for God. And so I have to afflict the comfortable to get them to move towards God, and I have to comfort the afflicted to get them to move towards God. And you have to do both of those things simultaneously if you're going to preach good. And that's probably the biggest mistake I used to make, was I was too far on the truth side of things and not enough on the grace.
Yeah.
When I first started coming and interning here and doing the sermons, that was one of the first things that you told me, was you have to make sure you have a balance of grace and truth, because people don't want to come in here and get punched in the face. They're not going to stick around. They're not going to hear what you have to say. Like, they're not going to hear the truth of it if there's no grace.
Yeah.
They won't. You have to have that balance, and that's something that I've learned from you over the course of time, and that I try to apply in the sermons that I prep and I write and whenever I deliver, because I want people to hear the gospel message at the end of the day. Like, I want them to hear what it is that God is saying about them, the things that Jesus has done for them, and like where they're to be led to. You know what I mean? Like the life we're supposed to follow. And so, like, I want to honor God in that too. And I think when we honor God the most when we are showing grace and truth in our sermons.
Yeah, and we'll think about this too. And God has entrusted to us the greatest story ever told.
Yeah.
And every week you're spending hour after hour after hour after hour prepping a sermon, and you could go in too heavy-handed and it not be received.
Yeah.
And therefore you have fumbled the greatest story ever told and wasted all those hours in prep because you came in and were looking to do spiritual damage rather than came in and looked to be a shepherd to the people. So you've got like that's a big deal that, like, you don't want to do all that work to have very little return because you couldn't deliver it properly whatsoever. And I'll also make this, because I know the vast majority of people that probably listen to this are not preachers, even if you do find this conversation interesting as not a preacher. But let me tell you also, like, in your life there are difficult things that you're going to have to talk to people about. And the same principle that we're talking about here works everywhere. When I have to have a
Yes.
difficult conversation with one of my staff members, up front, they know I love you, I am for you, I will go to bat for you. And then out of that relationship that I've established, then I can hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Then I can say the hard thing. After I've loved and cared for you, then I can say the hard thing. You can do the same thing with your kids. Your kids, the whatever it is that you have to talk to them about, it's going in one ear and out the other. If you're not gracious enough on the front end to assure them, hey, you're safe.
Mm-hmm.
Dad loves you. Mom loves you. Nothing about this conversation is going to change how we feel about you.
Yeah.
You anchor it in that relationship, then you can say whatever you need.
Yeah.
If you just go flying off the handle and it's all truth, in the trick here is that when you go truth, you walk away and you go, I was right, so therefore it doesn't matter how I present how I was right. No, you can actually be right and completely wrong at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And so you don't want to be right and then deliver it in the wrong way, because then it makes you wrong.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people, when they're delivering hard truth, they go, I'm just keeping it real. No, you're just a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, you're just not emotionally mature enough to say it in a way that, like, the New Testament, I believe it's Paul, talks about you got to speak the truth in love.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, if your truth is not bathed in love, then you have bad motives in why you want to share the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my problem with a lot of social media, influencer type that are out there with, like, shock value statements.
Yeah.
And it's like, listen, if it's not bathed in love, you can be as true as you want. If it's not bathed in grace, you're missing the mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've learned and grown in, because that was definitely a big mistake I made.
Yeah. Aaliyah, what have you learned about pacing, tone, body language, and movement that has improved your delivery whenever you are communicating from the stage?
So I can remember rewatching my first sermon that I preached, and my pace was so stinking slow. Like, people don't want to hear you when you're talking real slow. They can't keep up with you. There's like a certain balance. And
Yeah.
so I've learned to pace myself a little better, not using filler words. And I was never really bad at that anyway, whenever it came to delivering. However, my body language tells a lot. I'm a mover. I'm a talker. All in all, I can talk and not look at notes. So something I've realized recently is that as a person who is speaking on a stage and platforms or whatever it may look like, I cannot have notes. Like, that's something I've had to learn about myself, is for me to deliver well, I don't need word for word in front of me, because I'm a talker.
Yeah.
Also, another thing, I took a public speaking class just last semester, and I learned that talking with your hands too much can actually distract people. Having that movement, always doing this, like, it can distract them, and they want to watch your hands and not hear the words you're saying.
Yeah.
The one other thing is having that podium right in front of you. It can separate you and the audience too. So that's something that I think has changed too whenever I try to speak, is I try to eliminate that podium as much as possible. There's been times I've had to have it, but the little chair is nice, little stool that you use.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a connection point.
Yeah.
You remove the things that are gonna distract or deter people away
Yeah.
from connecting with you and with what you are saying. Do you have any comments on that as well?
Yeah.
With pacing and tone and
This
body
is
language.
one of my biggest pet peeves when I listen to other people preach. You have to remember, everyone says now that sermons need to be shorter because people have the bad attention spans.
No,
That's not true.
No, we could
No.
sit
That's
down
not true.
and watch an hour, 2 hour movie.
Yeah, people are binge watching whole seasons of television in one sitting. It's not an attention span. The only people that talk about people's attention spans are boring people.
Yeah.
It's 100% true.
Yeah.
The reason why you have trouble holding people's attention is because you're boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's just because exciting people don't have that issue whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Go ask Mike Todd at Transformation Church how he preaches for an hour and a half, because he's not boring.
Yeah.
His whole audience and millions of people a week stay with him online at an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I'm not as good as Mike Todd, so I don't go for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So it's not an attention span thing. What it is for most people, and this is that pet peeve I was getting to, is if your pace is slow, you will you lose people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Andy Stanley talks about in communicating for a change, which I think is essentially the Bible for preaching, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Is your cadence needs to be about a 1.5 speed of your normal speaking voice. And the reason why is if you speak like this all the time,
Yeah.
people's minds are just wandering all over the place. But if you can get your voice going at a high rate, then people are forced to stick with you, and they will hang on every single word that you have to say and stay with you. And then it also gives you the gift of, if you're sitting here, you hear the pace of my voice right now, it also gives you the opportunity whenever you're ready to slow down, then it draws people in.
Yeah.
If you're already slow, I have to really slow down to get your attention. But if I'm going at 1.5 pace, I can back it down to a normal pace, and it gives you time to catch up and get your breath. But that time that I'm going faster than normal is going to keep you attached to what I'm saying and not let you like, oh, I can grab a hold of my phone and look at something going on my phone real quick because this brother or sister is talking so slow.
Yeah.
I'll catch right back up with them. No, you have to have about 1.5 on the pace, and then it's got to come up and down. It's got to come up and down. That helps keep people with you. I learned a lot on body language and posture and everything because if you ever watched me preach before, I would guess before 22, 23, I was like a pendulum on stage. I walk from one side to the other. I don't do that anymore. To my knowledge, I don't do that anymore.
No, it's a lot. It's you're connecting and staying in a spot.
Yeah, the only
then you
time
move
that
to
I
another spot and
move
connect with
is
the other side of the room.
Yeah, the
But
only
you're
time
not
that
moving
I
as
move,
far as you
I'm
used
not,
to
Yeah,
either.
I'm not moving side to side
Yeah.
anymore. If I'm moving, I'm doing it on purpose
Yeah.
to draw people in, whereas I used to, with no rhyme or reason, just pendulum back and forth. And I went to, I can't remember where I was, but I was getting feedback from somebody, and they were like, listen, a pendulum going back and forth like this actually is what they use to hypnotize people and make them go to sleep.
Yeah.
He's like, so if you're just ding, 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 ding going back and forth, he's like, there's a chance that you are driving your audience insane.
Yeah.
And actually the best communicators are ones that you stand in the same spot, deliver what it is, and then when you have something that you want to say to get people to lean in, then use movement to draw people in.
Yeah.
But if you're moving the whole time, then again, it's kind of like your pace. If you're slow the whole time, you can't slow your pace to get attention.
Yeah.
If you're moving all the time, you can't do anything to change that up. So if you're standing in the center of the stage, delivering your message, then when you're ready to draw someone in, you might go to one side of the stage and go, come here, look here, I want to get your attention. You're going to say it, but then you're going to go right back to that middle of the stage and deliver the rest of that talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something that, and then I do agree. Hand motions, hand gestures, and nonverbal communication is very, very important. But if it gets too much, it does become the
focal point.
The focal point
Yeah.
more than anything. And honestly, it's just like tone, and it's just like where you stand at on a stage. If you overuse it, then when you use it, it loses its power.
Yeah.
And then if you sparingly use it when you use it, then it really highlights what you're doing.
Yeah.
And whatever it is that you're doing with your hands has to make sense.
Yes.
If you're doing something with your hands that it doesn't make sense. The other thing to be mindful of as a preacher when you're on stage is, and you will need someone else to point this out to you. You'll never notice it yourself. Is, am I doing anything that I'm not talking about like intentional movement? I'm not talking about doing my hands. Am I doing something that I don't even know that I'm doing up there?
Yeah.
That is causing a distraction. So I used to, early on in ministry, my first wedding ring before it broke, it literally fell off my finger and cracked in two. It was, I would stand up and I would do this. I would spin that thing on my finger the whole time I was preaching.
Yeah.
I had no idea that I was doing that.
Yeah.
Then finally someone goes, "Well, you mess with that ring all the time for while you're preaching." I was like, "What are you talking about? I'm not messing with that ring." They're like, "Yeah, you sit there and like spin the ring the whole time that you're preaching." They're like, "It's very distracting." I was like, "What?" I had no clue. So you might be doing something
Yeah.
up there that you don't even know is actually distracting people.
Yeah.
Same thing with what you wear.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I know it's like I'm not big on like, oh, you should only wear a certain, but I'm just saying what you wear can also be very distracting. Like,
Yes.
especially for female communicators, like you have to, if you have a bunch of jewelry on that's going to constantly clank around on your microphone, it's going to be distracting for people.
Or like a whole bunch of bracelets.
Yeah, if you got stuff on you that's going to be making a bunch of noise, very, very distracting.
Yeah.
Right? If you have your hair in a way that you're always having to do this with your hair or something, like you're always having to mess with your hair, very distracting.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the same thing. If you wear something that, you know, is going to be distracting. So, like, for me, I don't like to wear stuff with words on it for the most part. Because I don't want people to sit there and try to figure out what my shirt says when they should be listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Right. I had someone here at church make me a shirt that says "God's silliest goose" on it.
I was just gonna say,
I saw it on Facebook. I thought it was funny, so Megan had it made for me, and I wore it to preach in it. And that Sunday, probably 12 people were like, the whole time you were up there, I just had to know what that shirt said.
Yeah.
Because I had the shirt on that had my jacket on over top of it, so you could only see a goose, and it said
Part of the
silliest
word.
in the middle.
Yeah.
So like the whole time I couldn't even listen to what you were saying. I had to know what that shirt said, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, well, that is a good
Bummer.
lesson. Yeah, it's a good lesson to go wear that shirt on Monday so the staff can laugh about it, but it doesn't distract on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was something that you actually pointed out to me. I think it was one of the earlier sermons I did, how I clung to one certain part of the audience.
Yeah.
Like the right side of the stage. I was always talking to a specific part of the stage when I would start to move. And I think that can become distracting or disengaging if you're just sticking to one specific side of the stage, like talking to one specific group. Like I think moving around, even if you're not preaching on a Sunday, I think it's even valuable in leading worship. Trying to move around when you're looking, like leading songs, like anything you do, try not to have a focal point that stays the same, unless it's like looking at the camera, obviously.
Yeah, even though like I don't communicate like in sermon form, even just doing that like from behind a guitar and behind my boom microphone while I'm leading worship,
Yeah.
I try to make it a point to make sure that I'm like connecting with all sides of the room, because I'm typically standing like right in the middle, and so I want people that I'm trying to lead, letting them know like, hey, this is like, you are important over here. Like I want this song to connect with you and do that. And I'm kind of glad that I play the guitar, because I have body language that is very distracting. I know that about me because I get animated whenever I'm excited about something, especially like whenever we do like our little 5-minute devotions that we record and stuff. I talk with my hands a lot, and I get that. And I'm glad that someone else has pointed that out, you know, finding somebody that you can trust that can give you like positive feedback. And like whenever we are, first off, I think we've talked about this, like you need to find somebody that can give you some feedback. But how do we personally measure each and every single sermon? Like what's the gauge? What's the limit? What's the information that we can take away from this? Because it's obviously one of those things that's very tricky, because you're like, okay, well, like I saw, you know, like 5 people come up and do the response or whatever the case may be. But like, how do you measure a sermon to be successful and, you know, in the ways that you would want to see that? I mean, it's a tough question, but I think that if we can try our best to shed some light on this, in some way, in some capacity, with the wisdom that God has given us, I think that it will probably be a more encouraging topic or question that will be answered for individuals that are communicating right now. Because so many times I've worked at different churches, and I've seen people just defeated because nobody came up and responded. And I've seen people just like, man, that was like one of the best things. I felt like God, like we were just on it all week with the planning and the preparation, and we had this, we had just a prop, and it made a visual connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt my timing and my pacing was great, and I felt like I was connecting with the room, and then like nobody responded.
Yeah.
Like how do we gauge a successful sermon?
So I had asked Scott about this a couple months ago. I called him because I was like, dude, I know that there are people that are not saved. I know they're hearing what you're saying. Like, it's a great message. I'm hearing all of this, but nobody's moving.
Yeah.
Like, how do we get people to move? And he had said one of the most profound things to me. One, we don't know what's happening in people's hearts and in their lives, like at home.
Yeah.
Like, just because they didn't come forward doesn't mean nothing happened. Doesn't mean no transformation has happened at all.
Yeah.
Because that could literally be working in them sitting there. Like, just sitting there responding, listening to the music. They can still respond in their seats. They don't have to come forward. And also, there's still things that can happen throughout the rest of the week. It doesn't have to happen on Sunday. Like, that message could replay in their head Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
And they can make a change that day. Like, sometimes the response is small to us because we don't see it, but it's much bigger in someone else's life. You know what I mean? Personally. Yeah. And so I don't think it can be measured by who came forward and who didn't.
Yeah.
It can't. Like, I think measuring it by, did I do what God has told me to do this Sunday?
Yeah.
Did I deliver the message well? Was I obedient? Was I clear? That's it. Like, if we're obedient to what it is that God is telling us to do that Sunday, then it's a good sermon. It's a good Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably agree with everything that she said because I probably told her
yeah.
that. But you cannot be someone that lives and dies by how many people come to the altar. I know the older preacher, that older generation is like, well, nobody came to the altar, so it must. No, that's not true.
No.
Because I'll tell you, as someone that used to go to the altar all the time as a teenager, whatever I was doing down that altar didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'd leave that church and go act wild right after that.
Yeah.
And so that pastor walks away going, man, that young man was at the altar tonight. Must have been a good sermon. It's like, no, now he's,
still doing the same.
Out and about wild. Because the fear of making your whole case that you had an effective sermon because someone responded doesn't factor in the human quality that sometimes people just emotionally get caught up in a moment and might end up at an altar, but their heart really still wasn't captured.
Yes.
It was just like, I'm feeling something. I don't plan on changing. Yeah. And so you can't live and die by what's going on. I think people should come to the altar.
Yeah.
I think you should respond to sermons. Absolutely. I'm just saying, you, as a pastor, you can't live and die by that. The other thing you can't live and die by is if someone tells you that it was good or not. Mm-hmm. What Aaliyah said is 100% true. If you ask me, what's a successful sermon? It's first and foremost, was I faithful to what God asked me to say? Did I if there was something hard that I needed to say, did I back off of it? Did I water it down? Did I skirt around it? Or did I say what God needed me to say? Mm-hmm. The other side of that is, did I work hard?
Yeah.
Did I properly honor the opportunity to stand in the most sacred position that God could call me? Like, to stand before a congregation of people and speak is such an unbelievable opportunity. It breaks my heart that there are many people that fill pulpits all week long and they're just walking in there with their ChatGPT sermon or something that they just got off of Sermon Central. They haven't labored over it all week long. They got a packaged sermon series online and they're just out there regurgitating what somebody else learned from the Lord. It's such a sacred duty to go and preach, to literally speak on behalf of God. Yeah. Whether you do it to 15 people or whether you do it to 15,000 people, it's not successful if you don't honor it in the way that you work. Yeah. Which is why after all these years, it would not matter the context of church I'm in. I know that it's easy for some people to say because I'm in a bigger church that I get to operate different than if I was in a small church, but I don't believe so, and here's why. I would work the same level on my sermon as I do now at a church of 500, even if I only had 50 people.
Yeah.
because what God has asked me to do is that important.
Yeah.
No matter how many people are going to hear it. So don't live and die by the response, because truthfully, for better or for worse, you don't know what's going on down at those altars. You don't know the commitments that are actually being made.
Yep.
You don't even know, but somebody might end up in an altar that has nothing to do with your sermon.
Yeah.
And if they're responding, it's probably because the Spirit of God is drawing them to respond.
Yeah.
And it might not even have anything to do with anything you said.
Yeah.
So
the one thing that kind of popped in my mind, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is it goes back to what we've said earlier. We have to understand our position in the story, and that we are not the hero.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, if we are being obedient, we are the seed scatterers.
yeah.
Sometimes that harvest is immediate and right away, and sometimes it is one of those things to where it's just like, I hope that what I have presented today is landing in good soil, and that it takes its time to take root and drastically change
Yeah.
the environment that it is landing in,
Yeah.
because that's what a seed does.
Yes.
Sometimes it's instantaneous, and sometimes it is something that you can just see right away. You're like, wow, God got a hold of somebody.
Yeah.
But there's been multiple times in my own life listening to a sermon that I've just like stewed on for weeks and months at a time. And then I finally see like, oh, wow, that thing that I've been praying about, that I've been asking God, like I'm finding myself like no longer doing. And this was presented to me months ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, case in point, whenever I first gave my heart to God, I was still drinking. It wasn't anything that I felt conviction over, because I was like, I could do this and drink it at the same time. This is great.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with someone about it, and then I had a conversation with my wife, which just kind of like reiterated everything. And then I finally got to the point to where like I had seen the path that I was going to continue to go down, and the two couldn't last together. My heart and my love for God began to outweigh the things that I was doing, and that's how I became free of an addiction from alcohol.
Yeah.
Because I realized that I loved alcohol at the same amount as God at a certain point, and then my love for God slowly took over, and then that's what gave. But that was months and months of this conversation and conversations with people and my wife and all of that. And I just finally said, all right, enough's enough. Like, I love God more than I love this. And this is detrimental to my health, to my family's relationship and my job and everything else.
Yeah.
I've got to give it up because I want more of God and not more of this.
Yeah. So success in preaching happens on the side of the pastor and him being obedient or her being obedient to saying what God's asked. The other side of that is success in preaching is seen in how much obedience it results in other people. That's
Yeah.
not necessarily an altar call response. It's like, are the people in your church actually getting closer to Jesus under your preaching ministry or not?
Mm-hmm.
And if so, then you can say, yes, we're having success in our preaching ministry.
Yeah.
It's about lives being changed. The other thing that I do caution people is, I said, you can't live and die based on whether someone tells you it was a good sermon or not. Because for the most part, and I say this with love, especially if you're one of our congregants, listen, I love you and I highly value your encouragement and different things. Because at the end of the day, that's all. That nobody has negative motives in this. But like when a congregant comes up and goes, "That was a great sermon," I go, "Thank you so much." But that's not the sign of whether it was a good sermon or not. And again, I say this with love. It's because the average congregant, unless they've ever been a preacher, doesn't know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So if you live and die by the opinion of people that weren't properly trained in the art of preaching, then they might boost you up and go, "That was fantastic." You can also measure your level of effectiveness by having other preachers be your feedback system.
Yeah.
People that are, so like someone will come up and go, "Wow, you just keep getting better and better and better." And I go, "Thank you so much." But in my head, I'm going, "You don't know anything about preaching, so you don't know if I'm getting better or if you're
Yeah.
getting worse." So you can't live and die by the opinions, whether good or bad, of other people that haven't been trained in. Like all they're saying when someone goes, "You're getting better as a preacher," or "That's a good sermon," all they're telling you is that they like how their style of preaching is your style of preaching.
Yeah.
Not whether it's good or not, right? So they're just saying, "Oh, I enjoyed that."
Yeah.
That's like your personal preference. It doesn't tell you if it's actually successful or not. You just checked a box for them, but that doesn't mean that you checked a box for the person next to them, because everyone's preferences might be a little bit different when it comes to preaching.
Yeah.
And so you just can't live and die by someone telling you that your sermon's great on Sunday. It's the same way you can't live and die when you get that email on Monday and someone goes, "I'm leaving the church because of your sermon yesterday." All right, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But if you really want to know if you're a good preacher, it will be affirmed by other people that are good preachers. Don't ask bad preachers.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're equally as ignorant as congregants when it comes to what good preaching is. Ask someone that you highly value, like, this person is a great preacher. If you can get them to say, "Yes, you're on the right path," you're like whatever. That's another way to judge success. Is not by what congregants say, but by what other preachers that have been trained in preaching have to say about your preaching.
Would you say also, like, judging the success would have to be also how you're doing in your personal life, like in your personal walk? Are you growing? It's like their transformation still continuing to happen within you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're part of most preachers don't see it like that. You are part of the congregation that is being preached to.
Yes.
You are part of the...
That sermon's just as much for you 90% of the time as it is for anybody else.
When I taught, was that 2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks ago, that our bad behavior flows from identity issues. I hope that this church has heard me preach long enough to know I was the primary audience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I am the primary audience for that message almost every week. So I am part of the congregation that God is speaking to through that sermon. And so, yes, it's the same thing. It results in obedience in the congregation. It better be resulting in obedience in you.
Exactly. Yes.
Because if it's not changing you, it ain't going to change nobody else either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So God normally speaks to me first from a text and goes, like, finds an area that I need to grow in.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "All right, now I'm going to teach it to you Monday through Thursday, and then you're going to go teach it to everyone else on Sunday."
Yeah.
So, I definitely think that your own personal holiness and obedience will be a reflection of the preaching in your life as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a fun one to kind of end on. How do you handle nerves, and maybe even importantly, like distractions, or maybe like an off moment whenever you're preaching? We've all been there. If you've ever sat in a service, you know that there's going to be the funny sneeze. You know that there's going to be a baby that just loses its mind. You know that somebody's phone is inevitably going to go off and they've got some crazy ringtone set, or maybe there's a technical mishap where Dance Monkey comes on over the speakers.
That was a fun one. Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
It was for me. I wasn't on stage when it happened.
It happened to me.
Yeah, it was great. Here's what blows me away. Most people, when they come to preach at Southridge, they're very nervous to preach here.
Yeah.
Right, because it is a bigger church than what a lot of people are accustomed to, at least around here. So people get nervous preaching here. I do not get nervous preaching here. This is my people.
Yeah.
Like, they know me. I know them. I don't get nervous. I only get nervous when I go preach other places. Because, and again, this is the pastoral arrogance of many people, myself included, is to go, "Wow, I'm a good preacher," but you don't know that you're a good preacher until you find a secondary audience that you resonate with.
Yeah.
Right? You have your primary audience because they resonate with you. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that, like, so for me, I get most nervous if I get you could ask me to go preach to 20 high school students, and I'm going to be more nervous preaching to 20 high school students than I am going to be to preaching to 300 adults on a Sunday.
Yeah.
All day long. So I don't get nervous here whatsoever, which I know other people that come in here, they'll be nervous here. They won't be nervous other places. I feel the most nerve when I'm preaching out of my comfort zone, which this is my comfort. This is all I've known since 2011.
Yeah.
I don't get invited to go preach a lot of different places. So I still feel very new in preaching in foreign environments.
Yeah.
So I will get nerves there because you want to know that what plays here plays there, and you just don't know till you get there. And teenagers are brutal to deal with. Teenagers, I mean, you got to be something special to hold the attention of a teenager.
Yeah.
And so they make me very nervous to teach to because they're judging your shoes, they're judging your clothes, they're judging your hair. Look at that bald guy up there.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just that's what they're doing, and you got to be highly engaging. So I get really nervous when I get asked to do teenager stuff. But how we handle nerves, I mean, at some point you got to pray, you got to walk up there, and as soon as if you have a really good intro, if you work really hard on your intro of any sermon, especially when you're preaching in a foreign area that you're not used to, if you have a good intro and you let it rip, it will normally get you into the flow, and you're like, okay, I'm good to go. So I think the only time that I feel nervous preaching for the most part is if I feel like I neglected my responsibility to study and prepare as I should.
Yeah.
That's when I get most nervous. Like if it's been a busy week, I didn't get as much time as I wanted to, or like if it's a special service, someone is inviting me, and it's like, oh, I looked over it a couple times, but I didn't really spend.
Yeah.
I'll be nervous for that, but like at some point you got to pray, stand up, and let it rip.
Yeah. What about the coughs and the sneezes and the?
I do not pay attention to anything that's going on in the room.
Yeah.
Like people will tell me that. Megan will actually tell me almost every Sunday that she'll go, "Did you hear that baby just going nuts in second service?" I'll go, "I didn't hear a thing."
Yeah.
If I do
No.
notice something, like I won't do it about someone's bodily like sneeze or something like that, but like someone's cell phone rang a couple weeks ago, I'll make a joke about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, some people would take themselves too serious and like, who cares? Like, none of us are that important. If a phone rings, I go, man, I hope the Lord's calling me next. Like say something funny and move on.
Can you tell them I'm busy?
Yeah. So, hey, let me bring that phone up here. Let me talk to them. Like,
Yeah.
no, don't embarrass the people. Like it's they're already embarrassed enough. Their phone. Like, listen, you know how embarrassing it would be for you to be caught with your ringer on in 2025, let alone be in public.
I know.
Like someone's phone rang in my presence, like in the last month or two, and I looked at them. I was like,
You have a ringer?
why is your ringer on? Like I was almost disgusted. It was like I smelled bad cheese. So like if someone's ringer's on, they're already embarrassed enough. You're like. Like you can laugh about it, move on, but baby's crying, a weird sneeze, I'm just moving on.
Yeah.
I'm acting like nothing's going on.
What about you, Aaliyah? I mean, you're relatively new in this. Like, is that something that you've been able to fight through, or you're like? I mean, let's be honest. Like you've made some funny noises.
I do. When I get nervous, I do noises. When I feel a tension or something, I make little funny sounds. I do that one. But like before sermons, for example, I got nervous a couple months back when I went to preach at a recovery event. It was the first time really doing one outside of this church.
Yeah.
And so I was really, really nervous leading up to it. But as soon as I got on the stage, it was like all those nerves left. And I think it's literally because I knew I was doing exactly what God wanted me to. I think a lot of the times the nerves that I have is a nervousness of trying to keep me from doing what God's calling me to do. Like it's not from God. And so I have to pray through it and fight through it and just get up there, because as soon as I get up there, it's gone.
Yeah, I feel
It
that
leaves
same
a lot of the
thing
time.
too. Like, right? Like, I'm telling you, because we always have a countdown, and I get up there, and I'm just sitting there watching that clock.
Yeah.
Like just clock, just going down, and I'm like, I just want this. Let's get this started already, because I can't sit there and I can't watch that stinking timer just get all the way to 0 before we get started, because I know that like right whenever we get going, like I am good. Like
Yeah.
everything drops, and then I am completely focused
Yeah.
on what God has asked me to do. But it's that moment leading up to it. You're like, man, when's the last time did I use the restroom this morning?
Yep.
And did I drink enough water? And man, I'm dealing with allergies, and I've got all these things happening, and whatever, just kids, and this bill's coming up. Like I've had everything try to go through my mind.
Yeah.
But as soon as we get started, like it just completely goes all away.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, I'm in it. I'm doing what God has asked me to do.
Let me give you, here's some helpful language. I don't think most people actually get anxious about opportunities like preaching. But they'll normally name it anxiousness, and that puts a negative connotation on it. I actually think what most people are experiencing is anticipation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have anticipation going into the pulpit, then there's something wrong. You're not properly honoring the opportunity that you've been given.
You're so full of wisdom.
You shouldn't be anxious because you have to
Hate
realize that you are stepping into what God's already there. He's ready to work.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this. If you have an opportunity to go and speak on behalf of God or lead God's people in worship, and you don't have a sense of anticipation in your spirit, get the heck off the stage.
Yes.
Like you have no business being part of it. So, but what most people do is they feel that anticipation and they go, "Oh, I'm so nervous." Like, you're not actually nervous, man. You're ready. What you're feeling is like, I did it. I'm ready to go. Like the only reason
it's almost like a sense of excitement.
It is. It's a sense of And so sometimes that's what you're feeling more than anxiousness.
Yeah.
Anxiousness really comes out of a lack of preparation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Comes out of a lack of preparation more than anything. Like when you're anxious to go and to speak, it's probably like if you ran that sermon 10 times in your bathroom on Friday night to go and preach it on Saturday, you wouldn't be that nervous.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't be. There should be a anticipation that wells up within you, and you go, I was made for this. I can't wait to do this.
Yeah.
Right? There's literally been times on Sunday where I feel such an anticipation for what God, like 2 weeks ago when God gave me the recap of the David and Bathsheba, and we went back for week 3 on that. I wanted to stop worship halfway through it and just go, sorry, we got to get this message out to the people right now.
Yeah.
Like there was such an anticipation that, wow, God has spoken, and I cannot wait to tell these people what it is that God has said. There was an anticipation in that. And so anxiety normally comes from the reason I get anxious over speaking to teenagers, it's not because I'm necessarily anxious about my ability to speak.
Yeah.
I'm more anxious as like it's showing some sort of there's some sort of insecurity that needs dealt with there. And so it's not, oh, I'm nervous to preach. It's more like you're nervous to walk out there and be you.
Yeah, if you are prepared, then you are full of anticipation to do it. I'll tell you this much. I know that you would never, ever do this because you do a really good job of just communicating, and if there's anything that needs to be changed. But you just unlocked a new fear for me. Whenever you're like, "I'm gonna stop it right now. Let's get going." I was like, "All right, cool." I
heard Stephen Purdy did that once.
Like, I know that you would never do that.
No, I wouldn't say never.
But 99.9% of the time, if there's a change that needs to be made, you're like, as soon as I get it, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Furtick told a story back in the day that he preached at his main campus, and he was going to go preach at a different campus, just pop in and surprise them, because normally they would be video the rest of the day at all their campuses. He just felt led to go to this one campus. He's like, I'm going there. I'm going to preach in person to these people. And he said when he showed up, they were in the middle of worship, and he said the Lord said, just stop it and go preach to them right now. So he literally goes out, just stops the worship set, and goes out and preaches the message. Is like, that's just what the Lord said. Stop the worship. You're ready for the word right now, type deal. And I've always thought that's wild. I don't know why the Lord would do that, but that's what He does.
Well, I think that one of the things that most people don't realize is that if that were to happen, then God would give everybody else that it affects in any which way. He would give them peace that passes all understanding, to where you're just like, look, if this is what's going to happen, then here's a peace that is going to overwhelm you to where you are okay with that. Because I think a lot of the times that if that were to happen to anybody, a lot of people's egos would get involved.
It would.
And
if you don't have humility, man, it's going to be hard for you to be part of the leadership of a church or be part of the service in general.
Yeah.
That, like, if God can't cancel what you have prepared for all week, then it's always more about you than it is about him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I practiced to lead this song all week, and then it gets cut on Thursday because the sermon changed or something. And you're like, but I've been practicing that song all week. I'm sorry. Is it about you or is it about God?
Yeah.
It'd be the same thing. Like, if I got here on a Sunday, I was raised in the Nazarene church, bro. This used to happen in the Nazarene church all the time. That preacher would prep to preach all week long. You get there, people start singing, people start testifying, people end up at the altar, pastor never get to preach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, his ego could have been like, no, I'm sorry, all of you back in your seats, time to listen to me speak.
Yeah.
But it was like, no, you have to have a humility that, like, you can prep all week, you can prep all month for your one opportunity, and if the Spirit moves however the Spirit wants to and cancels what it is that you prepped, if you can't let go of that, then that is really revealing to you that what you were about to do was going to be about you anyways.
Yeah. That's so good. Alrighty, time for a mystery meat question.
Boo.
Alrighty, here we go.
All right, meatloaf.
Oh, this is
It's a
another
mystery
one of
meat.
Scott's favorites.
Okay.
If you were a type of cereal, what would your slogan be?
Oh, I was hoping this was going somewhere else. Okay.
I think I would take on, as the older I get, I think I would take on Rice Krispies slogan, snap, crackle, pop.
Yes, I feel that all day.
Like my
every
joints
day.
are starting to snap, crackle, and pop
Yeah.
anytime I get up and move.
Hmm.
Or because the Lord has blessed me with just a magnificent beak, it would just follow your nose.
Okay, I love that one.
I don't really know any cereal slogans other than Snap, Crackle, and Pop.
And just follow your nose. That was the Fruit Loops.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
The Frosty Flakes ones, they're great.
Yeah,
That
I don't have an answer to this.
Chat, look,
My cereal slogan would be.
is it one that already exists, or are you making up
You
your
can
own?
make it up. My cereal slogan would be, I'm tired. Because that's how I feel after I eat cereal.
yeah.
It's like, I'm tired and possibly lactose intolerant. Oh.
Lucky Charms.
I got another one for you. This would be mine because there's a good chance that I have a dairy intolerance of some sort because when I eat it, like, I get very sick a lot of times. Megan's like, would you stop with the milk? I'm like, I can't. That's why, like, my cereal slogan would be, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Oh, what about Kix? Kid tested, mother approved.
Oh, gosh.
All right.
Lucky Charms, they're magically delicious.
No.
Raisin Bran, 2 scoops of plump, juicy raisins.
Nope.
Silly Rabbit, tricks are for kids. And Wheaties, the breakfast of champions.
If I have to
I
take
don't
one
want
that
any of
exists, I'm
them.
taking Wheaties. But I really think I shouldn't have done that would be my cereal slogan.
Dude, Captain Crunch, this is their slogan. It's got corn for crunch, oats for punch, and it stays crunchy even in milk.
That's not a slogan.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, that's another one.
I like that
That's
one.
me.
Yeah, that probably is you.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Good.
That probably is you.
Life cereal. He's like, hey, Mikey.
What?
That's their slogan.
He's like, hey, Mikey.
He likes it, or he like it.
Oh,
Hey, Mikey.
Yeah, hey, Mikey, he likes it.
You didn't know that. You said, "Oh yeah," like
I
you
do
knew
know
it.
that,
Oh.
but I didn't know the way that he said it. He said the slogan is, he likes, hey, Mikey. That's not.
Yeah.
He likes. You haven't seen the old commercial?
No.
Hey, Mikey, he likes it.
Oh, yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
old one. Yeah, well, blame it on my
Either way,
terrible eyesight.
I'm going with the one that I created. That I shouldn't have done that.
You don't
'Cause
want the
I
raisin
feel
ones?
like that every single time after I eat 2 bowls of cereal.
Ah, dude, I love it.
And I say 2 bowls because I never only have one.
Do you have a go-to cereal?
No, I love anything that's made for kids. I like
So,
all that old people cereal. Other than like, I don't think that this is an old people cereal
Honey
because I
Bunches
eat
of
it.
Oats.
See that's gross.
Honey Bunches of Oats is
bussin'.
legit one of the
Go-
best cereals
Good.
ever.
No, run
Yes.
your hand through a thing of gravel and then put some milk on it.
What?
What are you talking
Honey
about?
Bunches of
That's
Oat.
grape nuts, bro.
Honey Bunches of Oat. No.
It's good.
But my old people cereal, which I don't know
Rice
if it's considered
Krispies.
old, is Special K Chocolatey Delight.
No, that's not old people cereal.
That right there, I'm serious. About a month ago, Megan bought me a box of that, and it was gone in less than a day.
See,
What? You ate a box of cereal in a day?
Maybe a day and a half, but I love that cereal. I would smack that cereal all day, every day.
Dude, you know what they
the
need
Special K one?
Yeah, the chocolate, only the chocolatey delight though, because I don't like
What do you mean
Like
it's an
the
old
s-
people cereal?
Well,
I thought you
I-
meant like it's an
it
old
would be
people
like
cereal,
my
like you just
old-
don't like it because
Special K is like an old people cereal. I don't know if the chocolatey delight version is old people.
No,
I'm talking like
I thought you were talking like
Raisin Bran, Honey Bunches of Oats.
Cheerios,
Honey Bunches
plain
of Oats.
Cheerios.
No, plain Cheerios with sugar on top of it. I'm down.
No, dude. You gotta
Add
do the
sugar
honey
to
bun,
it?
the honey nut Cheerios.
I like Honey Nut Cheerios. I like, I don't know.
Do you ever
but-
put a banana in honey nut Cheerios?
Oh, I put banana in almost any cereal that I can.
Dude,
I love bananas in in milk.
I know. I could do that all day.
Love it. But I like all the kids cereal. Like you talk Captain Crunch, give me any of them. Doesn't
Fruity
matter.
Pebbles.
All the Pebbles.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I'm down with like the
Chocolatey,
the Oops All
Cocoa
Berries.
Pebbles, Fruity Pebbles, Lucky Charms,
Reese's
Cinnamon
Puffs.
Toast Crunch. No, I'm out on that. Sorry, Jacob Huey. That's Jacob Huey's favorite.
Really?
Reese's Puffs. That's the only cereal he eats. He doesn't like anything else.
Hey, they got a good slogan: peanut butter chocolate flavor. That's what it is. Reese's
Fruit
Puffs.
Loops. I'm down with Fruit Loops.
You didn't
Do
even
you remember-
acknowledge it.
No, I did. I had to
Don't
keep
care.
on going.
Don't
Waffle
care.
Crisp. You remember Waffle Crisp back in the
Dude,
day?
yes. I was about to
French
say like
Toast
one
Crunch.
of the ones they need to
Bro.
bring back is stinking French toast crunch.
Here's the
Or the
I think they still
Oreo
have it.
O's one
They
was
still have that
legit.
too.
They have
No,
the
they don't.
Oreo.
They have
O's.
French Toast Crunch still.
No, they
But
don't.
no,
Where?
listen,
Wait,
here's the
time out.
thing.
Time out. Where can I find those?
Kroger. I'm almost certain I've seen it at Kroger.
French toast crunch.
Yeah, but I'll be honest. I have not been in a grocery store in many, many months, possibly years.
I don't believe it.
Megan does all of our shopping. I never
Dude, the
go.
Oreo O cereal.
Listen,
I haven't had those.
here's the one that needs to come back. The Rice Krispie Treat cereal was unreal. It
With
was
what?
Rice Krispie
Rice
Treats.
Krispie treats.
It was like Rice Krispies, but they had just little bundles that was like marshmallowed up.
Really?
It was a thing of beauty. It was cereal perfection. Nothing will ever beat it.
Yeah.
And they don't make it anymore, which
No.
is very sad.
You know what beats it? Rice Krispie treats cereal with a banana in it.
Yeah, that too.
That beats
Yeah.
it
Cold, like cereal with cold milk and a banana in it. Oh,
all day long.
the
You know,
best.
one of the best cereals that's slept on, Honey Smacks.
Honey Smacks. The
it's-
little frog?
No,
You
it's
know what I'm
okay.
talking about.
Yes, I know what you're talking. It's not good.
It is very good.
I mean, I would eat them because I
No.
love cereal.
Honey
But that's like
Smacks.
corn nuts cereal. Like, that's
Oh,
disgusting.
It's delicious.
It's got a frog on it, right?
Yep.
Yes, it does.
What was the? Oh, there's one that was like that. I'm trying.
Dude,
to
we've
think.
been doing the bag cereal, which is even better than the name brand.
Oh
Really?
yeah.
Dude, the Lucky Charms bag.
I don't like the marshmallows and the off-brand stuff.
No, I'm telling you, it is better than original.
Megan bought some of the off-brand stuff at Aldi one time, and I thought,
No, you got to get the Multi-Meal stuff.
oh, Multimilk. Okay, that's
No.
pretty much the same thing then, right?
No, it's better. It's better than the originals, and it's cheaper.
Honeycomb.
Oh,
Honeycombs are good.
Honeycombs are good.
Dude, you know what was good?
Apple Jacks.
And we can end it on this.
All the Halloween cereals that are out right now.
Yes, the Frankenberry
Frankenberry, Chocoberry, or whatever
Count
it is.
Chocula.
Count Chocula.
and Boo Berry.
And, yeah,
The
we've got all of them at our
Blueberry.
house right now.
Oh, man.
Actually, we sent some home with Eliza because she loves to just eat dry cereal.
Oh, yeah.
She just loves to eat.
Dude, I don't know why they did this and why they changed it, but they didn't change the cereal itself, but they changed what it was in. Remember the original Corn Pops? It came in like that foil bag.
Yeah.
And then they switched it to plastic, and it's not the same. They said we didn't change the menu, the ingredients, the way it's prepared. We just put it in a plastic bag. But it used to come in like that paper foil bag or whatever. It's not the same.
Well, all right.
This was a long talk on cereal.
Hey, leave us alone.
I love cereal.
Okay.
I love cereal so much.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually
my favorite food.
Eat some cereal for dinner.
I don't think I'm gonna make it in my window.
All right. Y'all have another great weekend. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next Friday as we continue our discussion on preaching. Thank you so much for listening in with us today. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and you can also watch the video version of this on YouTube as well. All you have to do is search up the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. From all of us here, we want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.